All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, everybody, this is me again, Krishna Vedula from Indo-Universal Collaboration for Engineering Education. I have with us a couple of our speakers for today from National Instruments, and this, as you all know, again, to wish you all a good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in different parts of the world. Thank you all for joining. This is again an important webinar, a part of our series where we are all as a global community coming to grips with this new reality, at least the crisis that has forced us to think of doing things innovatively using online platforms and so on, and continue to maintain a good high quality engineering education while doing this. So in response to that challenge, IFES and International Federation for Engineering Education Societies, GEDC, Global Engineering Deans Council, and IUCE, all of us have come together to give you these series of webinars. And I know that many of you have been part of the series the last couple of weeks already. Thank you all for joining. Today we have Raghunandan and Vishweswaran from National Instruments, all the way they're based in India. And so they will be telling us about some of the things that they have available for you to make your engineering education of better quality. And so with that, we're going to turn off our videos and just say hi to them, Vishweswaran and Raghunandan. You can just wave to them.
Hello.
Everybody.
Hello.
Okay, hello everybody. And so you can turn off your video and go on to the presentation. Thank you so much.
Sure. So, very good evening to all of you, and thank you so much for the opportunity given by IUCWE and other organizations here.
You can also turn off your video, so no distraction. Turn off your video.
Nice, fine. So I'm going to take 35 minutes, myself and Raghunandan jointly together, and then probably we'll stop for questions, and if there is a demonstration required, we would like to do it. You can note down the questions, whatever you have, you wanted to ask, so that we'll make it sure that we will answer all your questions in the end of the presentation. Okay, the major part of the slides preparation was done by my colleague Raghunandan. I'm just running through the slide because his side, the internet was not very good. So we don't want to give a better experience to you. More than 200 people I could be able to see at this point of time joining in this conference. So I have a decent network connections in my place, so I'm presenting it, and probably Raghunandan also can help me wherever the help required. Okay, so I'll start with a very important slide, which motivates me a lot whenever I look at an engineer interacting with engineering community. The statement is, if you want to help your person today, become a hot doctor, right? We know the importance of the doctors in the current scenario, but if you want to save this world, become an engineer. You know the role of engineers in terms of developing a ventilator, in terms of developing a lot of medical equipments, and playing a very critical role, join hands with the government and doctors and other folks. So I'm very happy at this point of time talking to 200+ engineering community here, and I will start with a very important key slides of what National Instruments. Most of you might be aware, National Instruments is an American company headquartered at Texas, Austin, US. And we have a two platform-based approach elements. One is the software piece, which is a productive development software. You all aware it's a LabVIEW. And the modular hardware, which is a data acquisition hardware or reconfigurable input-output hardware, which has a seamless integration, helps engineers and scientists to be more productive, more innovative, and discover fast. With this approach, if you look at, we are grown last 40 years in the market in terms of community, in terms of academic teaching research environment, in terms of partners, in terms of open connectivity with third-party drivers, hardwares, sensors, motors. And we also have a tools network where hundreds of third-party companies came forward and developed application-specific tools which can run on top of LabVIEW. And we also have a very strong field engineers and support engineers worldwide to make you successful in your application. With this one platform-based approach, we could be able to address almost a wide variety of industries and applications, as you see in the slide, starting from aerospace, defense, semiconductors, energy, automotive, wireless, heavy machineries, etc., etc. And to name few of the industries whom we work very closely last so many years, when specifically if you wanted to know the companies in the area of semiconductor, industries like TI, Intel, On Semiconductor, Qualcomm, NXP, etc. Same way, if you look at the industries in the domain of transportation, we work companies like Honda, Mazda, Audi, JLR, and so on. Similarly, aerospace defense industries, companies like Airbus, Honeywell, Boeing, and last but not least, again, everything happens from the research, as you know. Today, most of the companies started their initial days in the academic environment. So we work with more than 8,000 universities worldwide, and we work with them in multiple ways in terms of enhancing the teaching learning process as well as the research side. I also wanted to share one of the latest news which was published in the website. At the current situation of COVID-19, we all are seeing lively. NI also committed to make it sure, as a leader in the automated test and measurement, we work very closely with the industries like General Motors, industries like Ventino, industries, some of them in India also, who are all involved in product development like ventilators. So we wanted to make it sure we provide the right products which can help them to become more productive and innovative. Okay, what we do in academics in specific when we talk about as a collaborations. I have a very focused 5 points to share. One is enhancing the student retention and engagement. The second thing is increasing the research fundings. The third is employability. The fourth is global impact. The fifth one is relevance of what you teach and how does it match with industry. For example, I will give you a few insights about each of these pillars. When you talk about the engagement, today, you know, each classroom have 40 to 50 minutes of time, and it is very, very important to engage the students actively. There are a lot of methods people started implementing, like flip the classroom, studio learning, hands-on teaching learning, etc., etc. So there are many universities uses National Instrument software and the hardware tools today to make the classroom engaged, make the students engaged and interested in engineering. The next one is research funding. We work with a lot of funding agencies, including the USAID, as well as in India specifically, funding organizations like DST, Department of Science and Technology. There was one call for proposal sometime back from government called NMICPS, which is the National Mission on Interdisciplinary Cyber Physical Systems. Recently, there is a call for proposal from DST for FIST, which is a fund for improvements in the science and technology infrastructure. So the role what we play here is working with you to make it sure we will identify the right problem statement, which is essentially required in the current scenario of development, and providing a necessary supporting letter, right software, hardware configuration, and handhold you to the level of prototyping to the product development. The third engagement is the employability, which is very crucial on the current scenario. We work with academic universities and schools to provide necessary skills and competencies so that the students be ready with industry standard certifications, even if it is required by the companies. The fourth one is the societal impact. As I spoke in the previous slide, we would work with a lot of industries which is provide and universities which is providing a impact in the society. For example, few years before, we worked with IIT Madras in a application called ArtSense. So the product which they develop, which is basically an ultrasound method of finding arterial stiffness. So products like HTIC, ArtSense, even 10 years before, if you Google it, you can find it. PSG College of Technology, Coimbatore, developed the first ventilator for babies, particularly in the hospitals to support. So there are very, very interesting projects what people developed using our technology, and it's giving a lot of societal impacts. The last one is increasing the relevancy of industry by establishing a center of excellences and the training and certification programs. For example, today we have courses aligned with some of the cutting edge research and need of the industry, like industrial IoT, industry 4.0, artificial intelligence, etc., wherein you can see the relevance of the same tools used in the industry for various kind of research and developments. So this is the overall picture what National Instrument is doing as academic collaborations. Okay, now let us get into the specifics of what is this leveraging online resources. It is not only NI is doing at this point of time. You know, the lot of companies came forward and wanted to support the engineering community. So from National Instruments, we took this as the opportunity to support the engineering community by providing almost 29 paid courses of LabVIEW and the LabVIEW based toolboxes as free of access to all the engineering community. It is not only for National Instruments customers, it is open for all the engineering community. So these 29 different type of courses will help you to upgrade your skills, will help you to go deeper on the products what National Instruments provides, will help you to implement in your curriculum in the upcoming semesters and work on your research and development areas also. I will go deeper a little bit on what is this. Probably the moment if you go and type ni.com/training or online training, you will get this particular page where you will see a list of all the 29 different type of courses. And these courses you can able to choose based on your interest, from the fundamental to intermediate to advanced level. And these specific courses will help you to go deeper on the specific topics. For example, if you look at, I have chosen a specific course called data acquisition using NI, DAC-MX and LabVIEW. The moment I choose this particular course, in the right hand side you can see the specific subtopics of this course in terms of sensors, in terms of analog input output concepts, in terms of triggering, in terms of sampling theorem, resolution, in terms of other fundamental concepts which is highly required for you to work on real-time data acquisition. So these are all, put it as a separate modules where you can able to choose these modules one by one, which has the audio material, which has the video material. You can pause it, you can repeat it, you can understand, and there are some quizzes at the end of the course where you can able to evaluate yourself how much you learned in that particular topic. The moment you complete that course, it will be selected as the green indication. Right now you can see in the screen, the left hand side of the display, there are orange on specific modules. That tells very clearly you have taken that course, you have started the course, but you have not completed the course. So you can able to identify which course you have completed, which course you are not completed, and then you can able to complete one by one. The moment you complete all the sub modules of that course, you will see you have completed this one specific course, and that will be displayed as a certificate, my certificates. Similarly, how many courses you could be able to complete out of 29, and one by one you complete, you can able to see yourself getting a course completion certificate from National Instruments. This is the first step of the free access of online training. So start with the browsing the 29 different type of courses, launch the course which is your interest, learn the course by go through the specific sub modules, and then avail the certificate. And once you complete the free access of online training, you can also go on specifics. For example, I don't have time to learn all these 29 modules. I have an interest to work only on communications. Then I would recommend your selection of courses out of these 29 courses will be LabVIEW Communications as the first course. LabVIEW NXG1, NXG2 would be the second course along with the LabVIEW FPGA. The third would be LabVIEW Communication Application Framework. So this would be the recommended 3 courses out of the 29 courses which you are seeing in the browse page, if your interest is to focus on communication as the area of application development. The same way, if your interest is to work on real-time data acquisition, sensor signals interface, building some automation applications, then the recommendation would be LabVIEW Core 1, DAC, which is a data acquisition using DAC MX, and LabVIEW Core 2. That would be the learning path for you. Then the second course would be LabVIEW Core 3, which will give you a lot of professionalism, right architecture to use in your application. You can also notice there are some exams called CLAD and CLD, which is not mandate, which is optional. If you really wanted to test yourself with a global competency level, then you can able to take up the exam, and you can get certified yourself as a certified LabVIEW associate developer or certified LabVIEW developer. The third example is, suppose if your interest is to work on some of the applications on machine vision or testing based automations, etc., then we would recommend you like LabVIEW Core 1, Core 2, Core 3, and then managing softwares and advanced architectures. So I will also show you at the end of my presentation, there is a link which will talk about almost 20 different type of applications. Based on your interest, you can see, okay, if I wanted to work in machine vision based application, what are the right set of courses I should start with? Similarly, communication, control system, etc., etc. So this is the first input we wanted to give it to the audience. ni.com/training, where you will have a free access of online training. Okay, the next one is, I have completed some 3 courses or 4 courses. How do I test myself? I have learned all these courses. There is a self-assessment possible. We call it as a badging program. So we have around 12-15 different type of badging. You can also find it in the link called ni.com/badging, and you can able to choose what type of badging you wanted to undergo. Suppose if you say, I wanted to undergo a badge to evaluate, self-evaluate on topics like LabVIEW programming or data acquisition or sensors. Based on your interest, you can able to choose, and then you can take the self-assessment and you can evaluate yourself. Yes, I'm qualified at this point, particular level. This badging program is not only evaluation of your programming skills. It also evaluate how much you are good at sensors, how much you are good at building application, and how much you are good at the configuration of NI hardware and software also. As you enhance your product knowledge with the engineering knowledge, you can able to try for this badging program. For example, I wanted to self-evaluate on measurement as the badge. So if you are interested to undergo this particular badging program, the typical module you have to take the test is LabVIEW, how to configure the hardware sensors in the data acquisition programming, measurement fundamentals, and different type of sensors, because you wanted to evaluate yourself as a measurement batch. So measurement will not happen without the sensors knowledge or measurement fundamental knowledge or configuring the hardware with programming. So these are the 4 type of modules you have to take the test, and once you qualify, you will get a digital acclaim which will be shared in the social media as you are good at measurements as a domain. There are some details available once you look at the website. For example, the pass percentage is 100% you have to score. It is not a passing 70% or 60% will get you to have this batch. You have to score 100%, and you can take as many number of times you want so that you will avail this batch. So this is the second step. The first step is use the 29 different type of online courses which is freely available based on your application, and take up this batch which is the self-assessment, so that you can able to evaluate how much you are gone deeper in that particular domain. Okay. The third one is professional certification. The two certification which I named in my previous slide, which is called the CLAD, which is a Certified LabVIEW Associate Developer and Certified LabVIEW Developer. The same way there are other certifications also available called Architect in LabVIEW. Even you can undergo set of courses and you can become a certified professional instructor, CPI. And we also have some other certification for test stand. You can also see in a green color, blue color, LabVIEW certified developer and architect in the test stand based courses, which will help you to avail those professional certifications also, which is not mandate, which will also help the students level community to come closer to the industry, because industries are looking for not only the learnings and knowledges, they also wanted to see whether you have a globally recognized certifications. Okay. Now the third step is, once you have the online training, once you have the badging and the globally recognized certification, as an instructor, as a teacher, as a faculty member, how do I take this teaching, these learnings to my teaching in the upcoming semester? So NI have something very interesting called ni.com/teach. The moment you log into the link called ni.com/teach, you can see there are 4 broader areas. One is the circuits and electronics, controls and mechatronics, measurements and instrumentation, and wireless and wireless communication, wherein you can able to get a lot of materials in terms of simulation programs, in terms of white papers, in terms of the software hardware configuration required, in terms of example programs, in terms of some of the case studies, how other universities and schools use some of this approach to teach better or enhance the teaching learning process better. And these materials are completely accessible, and we have somewhere close to 350 odd different type of courses in these 4 broad areas. And for example, if you say I'm interested to choose one of the course out of the 350 courses, let us take analog electronics. You can see take online course, or you can download the complete courseware, and you can also see the details. What are the experiments you can able to do, what is required to run this particular lab, and what are the other resources. For example, there is a YouTube link will be available, there is a case study available, there is a white paper available. So I will also show you the demonstration. This is the way you have to navigate. Once you go to ni.com/teach and choose your specific interested course, and if you wanted to audit a course or you wanted to download the course, you have the option to do accordingly. And once you say I wanted to audit what all the concepts can be taught in this analog electronic course, you can again see around 20-30 different type of sub modules, starting from, let us take in the analog electronics, they are talking about diodes, rectifiers, transistors, op amps, etc., etc. So each of these concepts can be simulated in your computer using a software environment which is provided by NI called the Multisim. And then if you have the hardware connected, you can also do a characterization of your simulation result versus real-time results. It is again not limited to one specific course. You can see power electronics, communication, control system, etc. So right now, if you go back, the 3 important topics which we have covered is there are 29 different type of online free courses available. Once you undergo those specific courses, you can do a self-evaluation by taking a batch program, or you can go to the professional certification called CLAD or CLD, etc. The third one, you can go to the ni.com/teach and you can choose the specific course out of 350 courses available based on your subject interest and lab interest. Okay. Now the 4th point which I wanted to share is, we all are at present in home or hostel or place where we don't have access of the software and hardware. The first suggestion I wanted to give it to you is there is a link available today where you and your students can download LabVIEW software along with some set of toolboxes. You can see MATLAB interface, control system design toolbox, etc., and multisim software which can work with you for next 6 months. So there is a specific initiative from NI to support the students who wants to learn some of the concepts, some of the experiments to do himself or herself, or somebody is doing the project as a final year now. They have a limitation in the access of college facilities and infrastructure. So you can recommend them to use this particular 6 months student install option software, wherein they can able to complete their project or they can undergo a set of experiments based on their interest. The next very interesting point is there is something called the multisim live, which does not require you to install even software. So you can straight away use the website link URL, and then you can able to build off any analog electronics or digital electronics or power electronics circuit. This is completely free. Whatever I'm saying is a completely free resources. So you wanted to give some assignments where you students wants to build it. So even they don't need to download the software, they can use the multisim live online circuit simulator to build their own circuit, and they can collaborate with all part of the world. Okay, now with respect to the hardware. So I have experimented my idea or concept or the project in the software side. How do I work with the hardware? I have happened to see there are a lot of companies came forward and happened to attend some of the initiatives like this from IUCE. When I attended the program webinar from Quanser and Emona Instruments in the previous weeks, they have a very interesting resource available which will help you to work with their hardware also. I myself downloaded this particular app called Experience Control System, which will almost teach you Ogata control system book or Nagrathan Gopal control system concepts book, where you can able to see different units starting from mathematical modeling, time domain response, frequency domain response, and also you can connect the hardware. That is a very interesting piece I could able to recommend. And your hardware access should not be a problem to learn. The same way, I also wanted to take some examples like SIT Tumkur in India. They developed a very beautiful laboratory called Electronic Circuits Lab, wherein there are hundreds of students do experiments remotely by sitting in their home or hostel with real hardware experimentation. Even there is a program from BITS, one of the prestigious university in India, even Dubai also they have a campus. They run a program very specifically called WILP, Work Integrated Learning Program. You know, Work Integrated Learning Program. Working professionals, when they want to do the lab experiments, they can access those labs, not in the simulation level, in the hardware experimentation level. Even this also very popular initiative from Government of India. You all aware virtual labs. I worked with some of the universities, very specifically NIT Surathkal, Amrita School of Engineering in Coimbatore and Kollam. They developed a lot of courses which have the hardware access and software access, so that you can encourage your students and faculty members to log in at this unprecedented time, so that they can able to continue their teaching learning effectively. Okay. The next very important thing is it stop at teaching, learning, enhancement alone? No. You can also spend your time on research. Suppose you are doing a PhD. You wanted to understand more about applications related to automotive, how it is happening or how it is evolving. Or you wanted to go deeper on visible light communication or massive MIMO system in the area of wireless 5G. Or you wanted to see something in the energy-based microgrid, smart grid, power systems, and so on. So NI have a very detailed content in the name of handbook for automotive, for wireless, and energy, where if you're really interested, wanted to explore, or you wanted to submit a project proposal to funding agencies, where you wanted to get some inputs, I would recommend you to spend some time on these handbooks, which will help you to take it to the next level of your research. This is the latest news. I took it from yesterday's paper. Dr. Sagastra Budde, AICT chairman, he was talking about this is a very important time for all of us, and it is not contributing in terms of only money if you want to help. Even I have seen some of the examples. There are professors from Tamil Nadu, professors from Rajasthan, professors from Kerala, and different locations, like how IUC is helping us to continue the teaching learning process, engaging in the education concepts in the different tough situations. The same way, as an academician, as a teacher, if we could able to provide all these resources, informations to our students and continue this engagement effectively, I think that is the biggest favor we can do it. Because there are a lot of students thinking that it's a complete holiday. They really do not know what to do, what not to do also. Like how you are serious about engaging the students in the 40-50 minutes of the classroom, the same way it is highly important to engage our students at this particular point of time also. So I would recommend you to share all this information so that the lockdown period will be effectively used and the continuous learning will happen. So this is my summary of the slides. Whatever I spoke in terms of free online training, the badging program, the certification, the teaching contents, how to download the software, research, and if you really wanted to work with some of the universities in India or outside India to access those remote labs, how can you use it? So all this information is available in this particular links, and that's all from my side.
So would your colleague Raghunandan, would you like to add anything at this point? I know you have been also spending a lot of time preparing the slides and all.
Yeah.
Nothing specifically now, sir. I think probably if there are questions from the audience, then we can probably chime in on those.
Okay, very good. So we have time for questions. We've saved enough time for questions, and let's have some discussion. We've got 320 people here, so there should be some level of questions. I guess some of it is related to. I'm assuming that all these things that are listed in the summary are available for free to anybody.
Yes. The last one, virtual lab, remote labs. Yes, I know that from the government perspective, there are a lot of labs which can be accessible, but I'm not sure with respect to specific universities they have to approach, but we can facilitate the communication. For example, if the electrical machines lab of BITS Pilani campus, they wanted to access to do some experiments, I would connect who is the point of contact in BITS Pilani, Hyderabad campus or Goa campus. They can work together and then they can able to find a way to access those hardware labs, or NIT Surat in that case.
But all the NI lab sites links that you've given are all available for free for people to use,
absolutely,
right?
Free.
And some of them have a 6-month timeline, probably, right? Is it?
Yeah. The software is a 6 months downloadable version, but the rest of the things freely, completely available. The way they want to access.
Okay. The comment from a professor at in Romania is: are the NI academic activities, have they been externalized? I don't know what that means, but is there academic activities separate from the main company, or is it how does it work? No, do you understand the question? I'm not sure. Okay, okay, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, so how to access LabVIEW free courses? What is the criteria to register for the courses?
Okay, there is no fees involved to register a course or download a course. Probably I can share this particular presentation to Professor Krishna, and Professor Krishna can share it to all the participants. You can go to the link called ni.com/teach to download all the courses.
Okay.
And access the experiments, assignments, whatever you wanted to have it.
Okay, great. So some of you had that question. So this webinar has been recorded, and be converted to a YouTube format, and it will be sent out to all the participants who have been part of this. Okay, so that's good.
Great.
I have a quick comment. I heard of a collaboration with Cons. Okay, so Hans Hoyer has a question. Do you want to Hans? You want to ask that yourself? You can unmute yourself and ask that.
No. Thank you very much, Krishna. First of all, I want to thank you very much for this thoughtful presentation. The IFES and GDC community and IUCE community deeply value it. I'm delighted to see this wonderful participation. You've mentioned, and I know there's a close partnership, friendship with Kwanzaa, which is also just as National Instrument and IFES and GDC have worked closely together. I'd just be very interested to learn further how both of you and Kwanzaa are collaborating. If you could comment on that, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. So, Raghunandan, you wanted to answer this question?
Sure, I can take it up.
Yeah.
So I think most of our academic designs, both in terms of hardware and software products that we design, are actually probably draw inspiration from some of the customers that we work with. And specifically when it comes to the controls, robotics and mechatronic applications, we've seen that Kwanzaa and their team bring in an expertise. So we have actually collaborated with them to co-develop products and hardware solutions, which can go into both academic teaching environments as well as research use cases. So you would notice that there are some products from Kwanzaa that are integrated into our courseware. So if you look at our, like I mentioned, controls, robotics, or mechatronics courseware, you'd notice that we actually collaborate with the Kwanzaa team and with some of the leading academicians and researchers in that space to develop that curricula. So the collaboration in terms of joint development, because we want to take out, make sure that we leverage both the company's expertise to develop those teaching solutions and research solutions.
Okay, you want to add anything, Vishweswaran, or move on to another?
Yeah, we can move on to them.
Yeah, medical applications for LabVIEW and research. Somebody has a question on that.
Yeah, there are a lot of good examples. I don't know whether I can name that particular university. At this point of time, there is a university in India who is working on developing a fiber material for mask. You know, the mask is very important. The lifetime of the mask is very limited. So they wanted to develop a mask which has the high lifetime. At the same time, it will also able to clean up itself and then give a longer time period for the users. So the role what NI is doing in that particular application is providing the test and measuring equipments. The same way the ventilator example which I referred in the starting, as well as the HTIC, Healthcare Technology Innovation Center, who developed the Artisans as one of the products where they use NI tools for design, prototyping, and testings.
Good. When they go into these websites that you have on the screen and take a course, at the end of the course, do they get a certificate, or how does that work?
Yes. At the end of each course, they will get a certificate as they complete. This is also very good input for the students, because there are many professors and academicians approached us and asked us, sir, we don't know how to engage the students. When I share this information, sir, please share these 29 courses available freely. So at the end of each course, they will get a completion. So it will also help make it sure that your students are undergoing that course and completing the course effectively and fully.
Okay, the topics of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and IoT are very popular now. So what do you have to offer in those areas? Okay,
again, with respect to IoT, we have a very good demo setup available in our Austin head office for condition monitoring with IIoT based approach. Even we work with companies like IBM Watson, where some of the AR VR techniques are integrated with our software hardware platform. And machine learning, there is a toolbox available in LabVIEW, one of the toolbox called data analytics and machine learning. So whatever the three major areas which you are asked, there are a lot of information and resources available, and engineers and scientists are using our tools to achieve the product developments using our software and hardware. Anything specific that you want to add?
I can probably just add to that. I think we also announced a collaboration with the MathWorks and their toolboxes for machine learning use cases, not just for machine learning, but with MathWorks as such. So I can probably just share the press release and the details of the collaboration in the chat box in probably a couple of seconds. But what it essentially does is now maybe academicians, researchers, or industry users, they can actually use LabVIEW or MathWorks to probably do any of the computation, and specifically in the area of AI, ML, big data probably, or in terms of IoT use cases, we've seen that customers leverage that architecture of using, let's say, the NI hardware for acquisition, probably for some amount of pre-processing, and then probably pushing that data into MathWorks or MATLAB and Simulink for further processing as such. So we've seen use cases which are being enabled for autonomous driving, where ML and AI are being put into use for, let's say, safety of these ADAS enabled systems. We're seeing this also in terms of cognitive learning algorithms for the aerospace and defense use cases, specifically in radars. And we're also seeing this in academic use cases where we are talking about, let's say, speech recognition or image recognition in terms of classification, clustering, etc. We're also extending the same concepts into industrial Internet of Things for predictive maintenance, so that we're able to probably make sure we take care of those critical equipment or machine equipment on the floor and reduce their downtime.
So what you just mentioned, Raghunandan, is there any possibility at some point in the future that you or anybody else from NI or some can give some webinars on these areas, because that seems to be a hot area for everybody?
Yeah, so we can talk about it, sir. I think we can talk about the use cases, probably the reference architectures that we use for enabling, let's say, AI or ML sort of research. So we can definitely take it up. If there is a lot of interest from the community, we would be more than happy to come back and touch upon those topics.
Okay. A more basic question: what are system requirements for LabVIEW?
Probably don't remember them offhand, sir. I can probably put them into the chat box again if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were about to say something, Mr. Saran? No.
No. Yeah, this information available. The Google, just there to type. That's all. They will get the answers.
Okay. And any chance that you can quickly show a demo or something, Mr. Saran? Somebody asked about demo or something. Not sure demo. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So I wanted to come out of this presentation mode, and then I will, yeah. So whatever I spoke, I kept it open, all these tabs. You can see starting from here. Could you able to see the link?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the link which I was talking about as a first step, ni.com/training. The moment you get into this ni.com/training.
Can you close your video camera so that the screen fills up with the presentation? Your video came on. Yeah, there you go. Okay, now you can see it bigger. Go ahead. Yeah, please.
Okay. So the moment you get into the ni.com/training, which is the first step, access anytime, anywhere, and then you can see all these courses available. If you click see more courses, you can able to see all the complete list of courses available. As I told you in my presentation, you can select your choice of course, like data acquisition course, and then you can also see the details of that course, what you will able to learn as outcome of that course. For example, fundamentals of measurement, voltage, current, sampling rate, aliasing effect, reading the signal, writing the signals, timing and synchronization, how different type of sensors you can able to connect, like strain gauge, force, pressure, etc. So you will also see in each course what is the learning modules and the outcomes you are expected to achieve. And you can also see the relevant links, taking the physical measurements, what type of connections, etc. you have to do. And you can also see in the bottom what is the requirements. In order to undergo this course, it is highly recommended as a LabVIEW, and the prerequisite as a data acquisition environment LabVIEW Core 1. Not even LabVIEW Core 2 is required if you wanted to work on data acquisition concepts. And some of them ask the system recommendation. You can also see here in the browser, Google Chrome, Windows what version, LabVIEW what version, DAC what version, and what would be the recommended hardware if you want to work with the hardware interfaces. Okay, the next one is when I say this particular module, data acquisition using DAC-MX and LabVIEW, it has a lot of sub-modules, very specifically on measurements, on voltage current, sampling rate, aliasing, analog output, digital output. These are the different sub-modules. As you keep on completing each course, you will get this particular corner become a green instead of orange. Orange indicates you started the course, but you did not complete that. And this is the link. Anyway, you will able to see in the presentation. There are 20 different type of options based on your choice, what sequence you have to learn. For example, your interest is on HIL, hardware in loop testing. If your interest is to work on HIL based application, your recommended modules which you have to learn is HIL fundamental, LabVIEW core 1, embedded control, and diagram. You no need to learn other modules as a priority if you want to become expertise in the HIL. Similarly, if you wanted to become very specific on semiconductor, STS, or if you wanted to work on only the image processing, you can see here, acquire image with machine vision. Your recommended courses are LabVIEW, machine vision, core 2, LabVIEW core 3, right? Similarly, wireless communications. So this link also I have given so that you can go through based on your interest, what type of course you wanted to undergo. And as I told you, the batch, you can see the moment you open the link ni.com/batch, you can choose what type of badging you wanted to undergo. Whether you wanted to self-evaluate yourself on the LabVIEW as a programming environment or application development, or you wanted to evaluate yourself on the test principles, or you wanted to evaluate yourself on the real-time physical measurements. Suppose if your interest is on measurements, again the measurement batch will recommend you have to undergo these are the 4-5 sub-modules. The moment you complete all these 4-5 sub-modules, you will avail the digital acclaim. Then sensors is the one sub-module. You can again see what all the concepts will be evaluated, your understanding about the sensors. And the one which I talk about, the global certification, you can see each certification and what all the prerequisite courses you would have been completed to undergo these specific certifications. And you can also see the ni.com/teach. In the teaching resources, as I mentioned, we have somewhere close to 331 courses. And it's not only developed by NI. As you see in the first course, it's a control system design and analysis by Quanser. The same way, there are courses which was developed by university professors. There are organizations like Enable Education. They contributed for analog electronics. You can see Eddoing, which is the RIO developer, which is a reconfigurable input-output developer essential guide for academics. So based on your choice of interest, you can choose the right course. And in that course, you can do online access of those contents. You can audit the course or you can download the course. For example, if you say analog electronics as the course of your interest, what are all the things you will be able to learn? And what level you can introduce that course? What are the prerequisite skills you should have in order to use this course effectively? And what are the topics covered in this course? For example, diodes covered, diodes as a rectifier, Zener diodes, BJT, transistors, MOSFETs, op-amps, and even you can take it to the level of a capstone project. You can see here ECG circuit project. This is not typically a part of any analog electronics course, right? So these are the informations will help you to audit and share it to your students so that they can able to complete one by one, and then they can able to submit to you as an online content also. So these are the specific.
Very good, good demos. Good job, Akash. So again, it's available for free, so you all should browse on your own whenever possible. Right. We have our good friend Andrzej Rusinski from Poland. I think Hans, you might remember him. He says excellent broadcast, and thank you for having it. If you do you want to say and make any comments, Andrzej, you're welcome to do that. I can unmute you if you wish. Another question is best way to access NI Elvis 3 remotely. Is it possible to access NI Elvis 3 remotely?
Yes,
how would you do that?
Absolutely, it is possible. So the one which I have shown here, the free online course, this particular course, analog electronics course, you can take it to the online, and this particular page did not open. you can do a simulation, and you can also see if your LVS is connected in the remote in the wireless medium or Ethernet medium. You can able to configure it, and you can able to get the simulation result versus real-time result, and you can able to compare how the same experiment performs when it in the real time versus simulation. So you should have the hardware connected to your system and configure in a IP. That's all.
Good. Andre, I've unmuted you. Want to say anything, Andre? Is your audio available from Poland? No? Okay, not. Okay, question from a faculty member in India says, okay, well, students are kind of panicked right now about the placement situation. If they take these 25 certification courses, will they get a better job placement? What do you think?
It's a very tricky question. It will be make them come closer to industry. My best answer for this is the way I opened up all the Google links, the same way you can also open one more link, ni.com, not ni.com, LabVIEW based jobs. So that will tell you what type of industry is looking for what type of skill sets when it comes to the NI as a certification. And surely we can also help you if somebody in the level of CLAD, CLD, we can connect those students and candidates to our user ecosystem so that they will be better with more number of opportunities at least.
Is NI hiring?
Yeah, NI also does, but we always work 1 year ahead. For example, the candidates what we are looking for the current year, we already completed the recruitment process for last year, and those students are undergoing internship at NI at this point of time.
Okay. Great. I think we're kind of running out of questions here. So I want to really thank you for an outstanding presentation. Very informative, lots of useful things for faculty and students to participate in. And so to just wind up.
No, just a deep thanks. It's been very professional, very thoughtful. You're excellent communicators. And on behalf of all of us, many thanks. I'm grateful.
So thank you, Vishweswaran and Raghunandan. Any last comments from you, Raghunandan?
No, sir, none. I think if there are any specific questions or anything that we can help some of the attendees with, if they're having trouble in figuring out and accessing some of these resources, we'd be more than happy to help them get through and probably start leveraging. So yeah, our only request is that they try. And if they have any difficulties, we're here as a OneNI team to actually support them through it.
Okay, thank you very much, Raghunandan and Vishweswaran. Outstanding webinar. And
I just wanted to add one input. Actually, what we have done, we have prepared for a recorded video of this because we are not sure whether the internet connection is good or bad at this point of time. We don't want to disappoint any of the participants. So we have a recorded content available, which we'll share it to you because there are a lot of information which we have shared. So if you can share it to the participants, they can play the entire content and they can browse it also.
So we can give them both the recording of today's webinar as well as your recorded version of it, so that they can have two things to look at and get the most from all this. Okay, thank you very much, and thank you everybody from around the world for joining us. Be safe, be healthy, be happy, and have a good day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much.